You do everything right. You put in the late hours, you pray earnestly, you keep your hopes up. And then, out of nowhere, life just slams a heavy door right in your face. It is uniquely exhausting. You're pouring all your momentum into a path that suddenly feels entirely rigged against you. In the silence of that closed door, a very specific doubt creeps in. Did I mess up? Or is God actively rejecting me? Fighting a battle that seems sabotaged from above drains you on a spiritual level. It forces you to question your basic worth and whether you've been abandoned entirely. This roadblock functions as a guardrail. It is a specific response to your situation, rather than a sign of divine apathy. A divine no acts as a deliberate intervention. It physically blocks a path that leads to a dead end of mediocrity. What feels like a catastrophe in the moment is the required first step in preparing you for a much higher level of capability. The Gospel of John notes that any branch that actually bears fruit gets pruned so it can produce even more. It's a mechanism mirrored perfectly in biology. To transition a vine to yielding an abundant harvest, you must physically slice away living tissue. By removing those outer branches, the plant is forced to redirect its internal nutrients. All that energy reroutes straight to the core, swelling the remaining fruit. Personal growth requires this exact mechanism of subtraction. You cannot achieve exponential results without first surviving a severe cut. In a human life, those cuts look like a sudden layoff, a severed relationship, or a perfect opportunity that simply vanishes. Those lost elements were overgrown branches. They were siphoning your time and your emotional energy toward a comfortable yet distinctly average future. The sting of this loss represents a massive reallocation of your internal resources. You're feeling the friction of energy being pulled away from dead weight and pushed toward a more purposeful direction. This subtraction is a defensive maneuver. It protects you from the tragedy of living a life that is comfortable but entirely barren. There is a critical prerequisite for this process. A branch must first belong to the gardener to be worth pruning. A wild weed is ignored. It is left to grow chaotically in the dirt until it dies. A prized branch, however, is meticulously cultivated by an expert who sees its potential. A gardener only prunes what they intend to keep. The very presence of the blade in your life suggests a future for the branch. You are being refined because there is a specific result expected from you. This friction is the mark of spiritual belonging. It changes your struggle from a sign of failure into a badge of divine honor. Surviving this pruning phase requires a specific behavioral shift, the practice of grateful obedience. Take a moment to mentally isolate one current situation in your life that feels entirely blocked or completely against your wishes. Now, attempt a highly counterintuitive prayer. Thank the gardener for the painful cut, and ask for the lesson hidden inside it, even while the final design remains invisible. This leap of faith breaks the cycle of bitterness. It allows your focus to shift from the weight of the loss to the purpose of the growth. Recognizing the careful architecture of your life requires acknowledging the intelligence of the master gardener overseeing the entire process. To move into this next phase, you have to definitively surrender control. You can do that by simply asking to be loved, actively guided, and intentionally elevated by the perfect gardener. If you are ready for that, seal your commitment by typing "I am willing to bear fruit" in the comment section below. The moment you accept the gardener's work, the feeling of rejection loses its power. This is the point where actual growth begins.